Well, I am here, but I'm bothered by the fact that I can't record again. And I've got this signal that just keeps going in and out, and it's inexplicable. I can't explain it. Why I keep getting knocked out, and now I can't record either. So, back to the gremlins that I got going on around here for my classroom because people don't want me to do this what I'm doing in the classroom because there's too many people who don't want other people to succeed. Just like we were talking about in George Washington's speech, right? Where we've got people who, for their own selfish gains, have to misrepresent others. And that's been happening. So here we are. What classroom are we even in? The critical thinking classroom. And that is really what is going on. So such important parts of the Bookless classroom that ended up getting interrupted. And this is an Xfinity signal. There should be no reason why that got interrupted. And it was such a critical part of the last Bookless classroom because we finished off with George Washington's speech and then went into some of his ideas about slavery, and that appeared to have gotten totally lost. And now I'm having difficulty recording on my own as well. So, as with everything that has been going on, there has been so many obstacles that all of us have had to encounter just to be even remotely stable, as in moving along, not making any gains. And most of us are losing ground. And as I've been talking with many people, we know that this idea of losing ground is not exclusive to the poor people or 10% of the population. You're talking about 90% of the population. We are losing ground. And somebody like me who has really worked her whole life since she was 12 years old, worked her whole life, and then also worked towards some really significant goals. And then we all are finding ourselves with very little to show for it and a changing political climate that is leaving us feeling helpless, as we are talking about. I'm going to go online when I get a chance, and I've just been, really stressed and working very hard, and went into town the other day and had 2 drinks, and those 2 drinks, I don't know why, knocked me out for a day and a half, knocked me like a truck hit me. So stay tuned for another mysteries that's coming up on what is going on in downtown. And specifically, I'm talking about downtown Milford. What's going on? You guys want to double down? I'll double down. Let's all double down. Everyone double down. And we already know who's winning this fight. You think it's not a moral battle? It is a moral battle. And you choose your sides morally. The other night there, you know what you did. You know what you did the other night. And so do I. And I know why. And I know why. Stay tuned for the mysteries. This is the classroom and I'm the teacher. This is all critical thinking. And why is it critical thinking? This has everything to do with what we've been talking about, which has to do with this idea of learned. So today, attraction. So everything to do with our topic on learned helplessness. It's what's going on globally. It's going on in our nation politically. It's going on locally in our communities. And hopefully we can keep it out of our homes. That's the biggest thing right now, is to keep this kind of oppression and learned helplessness out of our homes. There is a really good reason why that speech that I just had about George Washington would have gone blank. And why my signal isn't getting across. And that is because there are a lot of wonderful things and inspiration in the starting of this country. And who's ever in power, whatever that is, whatever's going on with the money, and I think it's money more than politics, because we see the politics basically just falling to the wayside on either side, is what is contributing to this kind of mass confusion and this inability to for our states to come together. And so I see it again on a very personal level right here, that I can't get and keep an Xfinity connection when I pay almost $100 a month. And it seems to be losing the connection when I am saying things that are really, really unpopular. And again, and now I can't even record it, so I can't get up those videos if they aren't recorded on YouTube or if something is lost on YouTube. And this is what is going on with all of the artificial intelligence that they have going on and the collection of data. What are they doing? It's not just about advertising and selling you something. It's about shutting your mouth if you're not saying something that will sell that product as well. So, and that is what fascism is about, and that is what communism is about. So we really need to have a democracy and a democratic voice that is not run by money. That's not run by money, but it's run by truth. So individuals locally in downtown Milford, in the community, in the state, who want to run things for their own self-gain as far as money, you're going to lose. Double down. Go ahead and double down, because so am I going to double down. So am I. I'm going to double down too. You think that you're going to get people. It's all about trafficking. Learned helplessness is about trafficking, is what it's about. And it's trafficking is work trafficking and sex trafficking. And if you don't think that we have got slave labor going on right now, we absolutely do. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I've said I'm getting pushed out of Oakland University. They took my classes away and they gave me no reasoning for it whatsoever. I'm going to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and I've got a complaint that's being filed right now that I have to get to make sure that I can respond to this complaint. And now I've got all of these things going on. Doubling down. We know who wins this fight. We already know who wins this fight. So I'm going to double down too, because when I double down, it is going to produce. When Dr. Annette Feravich doubles down, that means I will produce. And when you double down there in Milford, when you double down, all that means is you're trying to stop my production. You're not producing. You are not giving back. You are not doing anything other than trying to line your pockets. How does it feel? How does it feel when a small little woman who's 57 years old does that to you? How does that feel? How does that feel? I wonder how that feels. Sorry, a teacher is doing that in the critical thinking classroom. We're a little bit more adults over here. I'm telling you that they're trying to shut this down. They're trying to shut free speech down because it doesn't line their pockets. And they are doing it in the most sinister ways, and that is through trafficking. That you are either putting money in their pockets the way that they want you to put money in their pockets, or they will take your jobs away. They will make sure that they are taking money out of your pockets by having you hire them and then have them not do the jobs they're supposed to do. And then they take your money, and you have got no case in court because You hired them, you paid them, and what are they supposed to? If you paid them, why'd you pay them if they didn't do the job? And this is what they do to women. And this is what they're doing to women right here in Commerce, Michigan, and Walled Lake, Michigan, and in Milford, Michigan, in these very affluent but highly single neighborhoods. And what are they trying to do? They are trying to teach people learned helplessness. Now, the topic here is attraction. And so why is that the topic today? Because all of this talk about self-esteem and feelings of self-worth and learned helplessness to get ourselves to learned optimism is about cleaning all this up, right? This is really what I want for you. I think that I have certain smarts and I think I have certain skills to be able to teach people how to remove that dark cloud from over their head that is constantly with them. I really do. I feel it's my life's calling, and I feel that I do a really good job at it in the face of many people who are trying to stop me. So there's the reason to teach you that I want to remove the dark cloud that is over you. But what it does for you in the long run is it makes you attractive. That's what it does. It makes you attractive. And the more attractive that you feel that you are, the more attractive you actually are. Attraction, beauty comes from the inside, right? So when we clean up these feelings of low self-worth, right? When we clean those kinds of things up, when we bring light to things, to uncertainty, to things that are unclear to us, right? When we bring light to those things, what that does is it then removes the chaos. If you are coming into my philosophical classroom, which I have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we are talking about the chaos that communism brings in order to recruit people to these kinds of concepts and ideas. And recruit people basically to rebellion is what communism does. Communism, the movement of communism, is to create a constant rebellion, a constant overturn of the rules so that there is constant chaos, is what it is, uncertainty. So when there is uncertainty, what there ends up being, as we saw here in Harry Harlow's study, is so when there is uncertainty that they are creating here in the United States with the vaccine and with the virus, all kinds of uncertainty. That is clear. That is just evidentiary. There's evidence for that. All right. There's evidence for that. But what it comes from, and this is why combining all of these things, I think that I'm getting such a hard pushback, is because I really do think it is a fight for our democracy. And so I lost a lot of my Bookless classroom, which is just praising democracy and a lot of what the forefathers were fighting for. I got all my George Washington speech in there, but I didn't get any of my speech on slavery right after that and what he felt about slavery, and that was really unfortunate. And so many of the things that we're saying, this is a communist tactic, is what it is. And if you believe that there is communist rule in here, who took away, who was that? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it was Trump or if it was Biden. The oligarchs that were here from Russia? Who took away their housing, their property, right? The oligarchs that are here, or that were here, and what happened? Something happened, and we started shutting them down. Oh, Ukraine. So that would have been Biden, right? And took away the oligarchy's property. All right. So what am I saying? I'm saying that there's a real conflict right here that we all understand to be a conflict for democracy. However you want to frame it, there's a conflict for democracy here in this country, and we know it. And I do feel that some of the things I specifically say in the Bookless classroom are being targeted because people don't want to hear a woman speak democracy. I'm also going to have something out there on Fiverr for the same reasons, because Fiverr is a corporation that doesn't want to hear women speak and be strong and independent and have their democracy, right? Their voting rights, their equal rights as a human being, regardless of gender. Fiverr doesn't want that either. So lots of companies around here in the United States that have access to our data that are not for democracy, and that will, if they have the same rights as every other citizen is supposed to have, will shut you down. Why not? If somebody from a communist country comes in here and buys a business and does business, why wouldn't they do it in a communist kind of way? And then, being a communist, my beliefs are really down deep, right? They are really deep. Why wouldn't I then, if my beliefs, no matter what I am, a Christian, a Republican, a Democrat, a liberal, a, pot smoker, a, farmer, a builder, a contractor, a, Quaker, why wouldn't I then sell my beliefs to everybody else? Why wouldn't I do that? So why wouldn't, in a free country where you can freely buy and purchase land, why wouldn't communists come in here and then move up the ladder, get technology, and screw you? I call you there, who's doing that in Milford, I call you communists, because you are suppressing people's rights here in this small little town. For what? For your own personal gain. And I'm calling it trafficking, because you want people to work where you want them to work in the positions you want to keep them in, so that if they get out of line and they're halfway decent looking, they'll screw you. Literally. And I put it nicely, right? I did. And I can't even record this. I'm so mad, right? So creating this chaos, and this is, again, part of the philosophical conversation that we're having as well, right? So creating this chaos on purpose, no different than, I don't even know. All right, there we go. If I look at my finger and show what it's supposed to do is the opposite, then I can. And the opposite would be, there we go. Okay, so what did they do here for these monkeys? What did Harlow do? Created chaos, so much so, right, that it created a basic insanity. A very primitive insanity, right? We haven't gotten here where they socially isolated us. Why do you think that they would want to keep me quiet? And oh, by the way, people in Milford who want to keep me quiet for your own reasons, This is what you're keeping quiet. You're keeping quiet somebody who praises in a very intellectual but not elitist kind of way democracy. Honest to gosh, what the hell is the matter with you? You know what's the matter with you? You've got something in your hand. Yeah. Fiverr. Okay. And I would like somebody to look into Ambien and people putting Ambien in people's drinks, because I have asked about what that does. And I think what it does is I think it makes people angry is what I think it does for some people. And I think that if you did that, and you did that, in a local bar or something, put something like Ambien in somebody's drink, and then they got angry and you didn't like what they had to say, you would likely be able to kick them out, right, of your establishment. And then you wouldn't have the headache of having that person that you don't like what they're saying or doing in your establishment. Or basically, you don't like the idea that you are unable to traffic them, get them to work the way that you want them to work. As I've been saying in my mysteries, which I've got to have another one on, as I've been saying in my mysteries, this is about gambling as well. People are making money on this locally. It's just what they are willing to do immorally is they are willing to take their local gains and forego their national democracy. Again, my free speech to say and talk about what our the founders of this country, our forefathers, gave up and sacrificed and said for my right to be on here and say these things and work and have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those rights. And people are taking them away on a national level, on an international level, and on a local level. And they complain about it on a national level while they are taking those rights away, in particular from women and children, on a local level. They don't shut their mouths about complaining about it on a national level, but they are doing it in particular to women and children on a local level. And you know what that is? You know what that is? That's unattractive. That's what that is. You know what that is? It's cowardice. That's what that is. It's cowardice.